Welcome back to the next build video for the Dune Ornithopter. In the previous video I said I'd mention, or the next video would be the wing mounts. I have modified them from the original design because what I had wasn't working. So the original ones were plain blank inside, and then I put a magnet inside which helps hold the actual wing in but doesn't help the orientation. And I had to really modify it to get it to work, played around, and then came up with this idea, which is a little gear-like thing I put inside, and then the actual mount has the teeth, and they simply slip in, and then you can change the orientation of your wing as needed. Okay, pretty nice. It works pretty well. I've tested it. So what you're going to have to buy on top of the kit, which I do not supply, are the magnets. So what I've gone with is 1 centimeter wide by 1 millimeter thick, 4 per wing or 4 per mount, as you can see in this on the side. Okay, so I've marked them. You'll find on the actual parts there are numbers. I think 1 or 2 don't have, but you can figure it out pretty easily. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 5, 6, 7, 8 has extra, the extra because there is the open version and the closed version for the wings. So the open being angled slightly, and then the closed being straight out. Now you're going to have to sand the back flat to the desired depth so that the actual part sits flush with the ring. So you've got a choice: either you sand this part down, the little step, which I did not added a magnet on, so you're going to have to sand it down by 2 millimeters because you're adding 2 magnets in, so it's 8 magnets per wing mount. Like I say, there is enough space over here to actually grind down the inside of the actual mount on the body, so it's your choice. I will supply magnets the first few kits. You're going to need 100 magnets. It's a lot of magnets on this size. I'm not sure a larger scale magnets into this area. The problem with magnets is they might stick like these two stick. Okay, but if it's a single magnet, they can actually turn on each other, and you don't want that. So that's why the 4 magnets seem to hold and prevent it from turning from the weight of the wing. Each wing is 60 grams in weight, metric. Okay, so yeah, so you're gonna have to play with it. It's up to you what magnet you. I mean, a stronger magnet might help, a thicker magnet. So maybe grind out 2 millimeters over here, then buy 2 millimeters and drill out, sand down 2 millimeters on this side. Then basically you have 2 large ones. But it's your choice. Okay, so if I look at mine over here, this is number. Let me get this number 1 over here to show you. So this one has a number 2 on it. So 1 and 2 is pretty well marked. Where's my number 1? This one. Okay, so is it 1? Yes. Okay, so the 1, 2, 3, and 4 rotate. So you're gonna. So if you're gonna do the 4, just make sure. I mean, I first put the single one in the center, and then it was a hell of a mission to put the 4 in, because they kept sticking to the center with the glue on, because I use epoxy glue. So if you're going to go with the 4, don't put the center one in unless you want to struggle like I did. Okay, and make 100% sure they're all the same, plus on top or minus on top, so they don't repel each other, and that's on all 4, because you're going to need to rotate it. So once this is in, okay, this needs to rotate. So there it goes. Okay, so there, open, closed. Okay, the top seems to hold in quite well with the rim. It might work without magnets, but I'm not going to take that chance. Okay, so number 2, same story, and so forth with the rest. Okay, so with the side ones, so number 5 is this one. Okay, so make sure that the okay, so if you can do the 4, stick them in the same with a plus or minus on top, then chuck a magnet on top of each, and then put glue on it and then just shove this in. But get the orientation right. So use the images that's on the box folder. There is an image of the actual full size from the side. Use your best judgment. I found that what I did was the one sits a little bit higher than the other one. So this one here is slightly lower, and then this one's slightly higher. So they actually cross each other. And same with the top ones. Because that's number 5 backwards. And then number 5 straight out is easy. Number 5. Okay, as well you'll find that by turning them, the wings will be in different orientations. So slightly down and then slightly upwards. Depending if it's flying or landed. Okay, and it's orientated slightly. And that's a nice thing about having them all orientated correctly. So you can do that. Okay, and then your actual mounts themselves, okay, you'll get 4 long and 4 short. So the long ones, the short one is this one. Okay, short is for the bottom, because these holes are, except the straight out ones, the rear facing, the hole is a lot shallower. So then it goes in. So you can see this one here doesn't fit. Okay, you're going to have to use the short one. Okay, so out of the 100 magnets, it's all the body parts, it's 80. And then there is a gap on the inside of this, as you can see, for a magnet. So you have the option of gluing one to there and then one to the inside. So this holds. So I haven't done that yet. I might not, I'll see. It worked quite well on the previous design. I just hold it in. You'll find that the out ones, this hole is actually deeper. So it could hold the long one, but the short one works fine. So if you're going to put a magnet in here, there's going to be a gap between. So maybe put a different magnet in, maybe a thicker magnet, so they can actually touch one another. Okay, and my personal opinion on this is people will probably display this kit with the wings folded back, because with the wings open is 1.4 meters, which is it's wide. So I don't think this will be used as much, but it is there as an option. I'm thinking it'll be more the wing back option. Okay, so also what you want is, you'll see there's a recess on the bottom of this, top of this, for the head of the screw to go in. Okay, so that actually sits right in, sits flat inside, and then you get a nut for the other side. Okay, so this is the top and this is the bottom where the nut goes. Okay, when the wings are folded back, they're actually the other way around. So the open section of the wing, being this section over here, faces backwards during flight. But when it's landed, it faces forwards. And then that'll put this the other way around. This here will then be at the bottom. So you can just orientate them, depends how you want to display it, but play around with it until you get what you want. But I mean, this is the complete wing. I think I've showed this before. And in this configuration with a 4, it does hold it. Holds it at the right angle. And the little teeth on these help, so you can display it differently on each side. Okay, so I think that's everything on the magnets and the wing mounts. As I say, I'm not gonna, the magnets aren't supplied. It's not part of the kit. It's your choice what you want to get. I bought a bunch of magnets which I will sell separately of the kits for the first few models that I've sold, for those who want to buy it. With any of these magnets, especially the thin ones, you need to take care, because if they're very strong, so they might fly across the table into a bunch and then crack. So they're very brittle. Okay, what you find as well, I didn't some of them was I actually had to sand down the edge, because it didn't fit into the hole. And that works well with a metal saw, iron saw, not saw, file, metal file. Where is one? So here's one that I sanded. Okay. So just modifications playing around, but the configuration I came up with, like I said, compared to the first lot which didn't work, was the teeth on the inside, and then the gears on the inside, and then the teeth on these mounts, and it works a lot better, and it actually holds. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint these the same color as the body, and then I'm going to start painting the interior and everything. I'll do a video at the end when I've done the painting to explain the colors I've used. Your choice, but there will be photographs of the interior on the box folder. And then the stand, this is a test stand which seems to work quite well. The model does have a lot of weight, more backwards than, not completely in the center, slightly to the rear. So I had to widen the stand part, but I'll explain that when I get to the stand video. Okay. Hi everyone, just a quick update on the Ornithopter mounts, which I've changed. There is an option obviously for your magnets, which I've actually removed to do the new tests. So I still will supply the magnets for those that want in the beginning with what I have. It's your choice if you want to use the magnets or not. I found some held, some didn't. So what I'm going to do is supply a printed part, which you can use as an alternative to mount these wings or the wing mounts. So the original part that you'll get will have the bulge on the back, which will stick out. Okay, it sticks out in the back where you stick your magnets onto. Okay, so the idea over here is to grind those completely flat, like such, and don't worry about the hole because the mount peg it goes in doesn't go all the way through. It stops at the angle. Okay, and then to put your little gadget in, which looks like this. So make sure when you put them in, you'll get the set for the top and the bottom, obviously, and also for the open wing option. So I think it's 16 parts altogether. So just make sure that when you do install them, if you use these, is that the right hand side twists backwards and the left hand side twists backwards. So they're mirrors of each other. Or else if you do them the wrong way around, then basically it will be unlocked the whole time. So you want the weight of the wings to actually lock the mechanism in place. Okay, and then line them up. I've lined them up in such a way that this little gear is slightly to the back. When you lock it in for the side one, because you want the option to obviously turn these. These are the only ones that will need to be turned. The bottom ones not. Okay, so it'll be a bit of a eyeballing it to make them the same on each side, but the idea is that it locks correctly. So first line up your mounts and then line up the inside and glue them. And what I did was I glued the whole thing in, and then I put glue on this and I just put it in place and left it there overnight to make sure it was nice and tight, and it holds the wings very well. Okay, so you can lift the model up without wings falling off. Okay, so like I said, use your Dremel sander or sanding machine. Just be very careful, and then just sand this down smooth. Number them, and then what I did was I numbered them on the inside of the of this part. Okay, so this is number 3. Okay, and like I did mention before, from the top 1, 2, 3, 4, and then lower 5, 6, 7, 8. And 5, 6, 7, 8 will have 2 parts, because for the open option.